Hello everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Holland Land Office Museum's Artifact video series. My name is Ryan Duffy, I'm the director of the museum, and this week we're going to talk about a famous expatriate of Genesee County, one that sadly passed away very recently. This is Terry Anderson, who passed away last Sunday, April 21st. So we're going to talk a little bit about Terry's life and his importance to Genesee County. So behind me we have a few artifacts related to Terry that our curator Tyler put together once we heard about his passing. So Terry was born actually in Lorain, Ohio on October 27th, 1947, but his family moved around a couple times, first to Albion and then eventually settling here in Batavia, where they lived on Clinton Street. Now Terry would attend high school at Batavia High School and graduate the class of 1965. And after he graduated, he actually joined the Marine Corps and served in Vietnam as a correspondent in the Marine Corps, which truly sparked his love of journalism and would shape his career going forward. After being discharged from the Marines in 1970, Terry would go on to study journalism at Iowa State University, where he would graduate with his degree in 1974. In his professional career, he would become a member of the Associated Press and would study foreign affairs across Asia and Africa before being put in charge of the Mideast sector in 1983. And he was soon sent to Lebanon to cover the conflict that was brewing there, the Lebanese Civil War, and it's there where he would be put into the pages of history. On March 16th, 1985, while he was in Lebanon, Terry was actually taken hostage by one of the militant groups, Hezbollah, that was operating there, one of the Shiite Muslim groups. He was taken after he finished playing a game of tennis and was held hostage for 7 years. Now, he was one of many Western hostages who were taken during this time and held prisoner for years and years and years as a bargaining chip. Now, the Hezbollah group was supported by Iran in this conflict, and it was through their backing that they were able to take some of these hostages, including Terry Anderson. Now, Terry suffered in captivity for 7 years through horrible conditions. He was beaten, he was starved, and had little contact with the outside world, though he was able to listen to a radio while held in captivity, which told him a lot of the major events that happened while he was held there, including the fall of the Soviet Union. Now, Terry was the last of the hostages to be released, eventually being released on December 4th, 1991. And he was staying in Germany for a short time, recouping and recovering from his ordeal before eventually making it back to the United States. He would come back to his hometown of Batavia on June 27th, 1992 to massive fanfare and people lining the streets to see him, and they even did a ceremony which featured the bust that is behind me here, which was part of a larger statue that was designed in honor of him by Louis de Gaulle of Lackawanna. He completed in 1989, and it featured a pair of hands with a chain across it representing his captivity. And during the ceremony at the mall, Terry was allowed to break those chains to signify his complete release from captivity. Now, Terry continued on in journalism and actually went on to teach journalism at several universities, including Columbia, Ohio University, University of Kentucky, Syracuse, and Florida, before he would eventually retire in 2015. While living in Ohio, he actually ran for state senate, though unsuccessfully, in 2004, and even ran a horse farm in Virginia during that time. And eventually he was actually able to sue and win his case against the Iranian government for his captivity, which was a multi-million-dollar settlement. Terry also focused on a lot of humanitarian goals, both here in Batavia and farther afield, humanitarian and peace goals. He ran several organizations focused on helping those in Vietnam, especially children, in terms of education and basic needs over there, and was instrumental in pursuing the prospect of the Peace Garden here in Batavia, and was one of the leaders in getting that to eventually form in the early 2000s. So we're He was a very impactful figure, not just here in Batavia and Genesee County, but also across the United States. As I mentioned, we've got the bust of Terry here that was done in 1989. It was housed in the Genesee Country Mall for several years before it was eventually donated to the museum here, and we have it in our collection. We've got copies of his book, Den of Lions, which was published after his release from captivity, which was his memoir of his time in captivity, all 7 years. And we have a poem that he wrote, as that was one thing that kept him going while he was in captivity, was he would write poetry, and this one's sort of about his time in Vietnam. Terry did suffer significantly from PTSD and trauma from the event, which goes without saying, being held like that for that long. And eventually he would settle in the Hudson Valley area of New York, and that is where he would pass away at the age of 76. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of our Artifact video series and learned a little bit more about our famous former resident Terry Anderson and his time in captivity. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel, as it helps us out a little bit and gets you notified when we do release new videos. And be sure to check out all our back catalog of Artifact video series videos, as there are well over 200 now, plus all of our guest speaker and concert videos. So there's plenty of material to scratch that itch of local history. But as always, the best way to learn about anything we cover in these videos is to stop by and see them for yourself at the museum, as we can share even more information, and in many cases you can see the artifacts up close and personal. But if you really want to support what we do here and enjoy these videos, the best way to do that is become a member of the museum, which can go for as low as $25 for an entire year, which gets you discounts to events, free admission, discounts to the gift shop, as well as plenty of other benefits that help support us and get you ever closer to what we do here.